Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Ashradhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Prapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Ashradhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Shraddhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Ashradhana. Those who are faithless. Purushaha. Such persons. Dharmasya. Toward the process of religion. Asya. This. Parantapa. Enemy. Killer of the enemies. Aprapya. Without obtaining. Mam. Me. Nivartante. Come back. Mrityu. Of death. Samsara. In material existence. Vartmani. On the path. Translation. Oh, those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of the enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Let's repeat that. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of the enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. This faith is a most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. Thus, faith is a most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 31, text 14. Yatha toror mulana shechanena pripyanti tatskandha pujopashakha pranopahara chayathendriyanam tathaiva sarvarhanamachyate. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities, end quote. Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is faith. Now, the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are three divisions of Krishna conscious men. In the third class are those who have no faith. Even if they're officially engaged in devotional service, they cannot achieve the highest perfectional stage. Most probably, they will slip after some time. They may become engaged, but because they haven't complete conviction and faith, it is very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. We have practical experience in discharging our missionary activities that some people come and apply themselves to Krishna consciousness with some hidden motive. And as soon as they are economically a little well situated, they give up this process and take to their old ways again. It is only by faith that one can advance in Krishna consciousness. As far as the development of faith is concerned, one who is well versed in the literatures of devotional service and has attained the stage of firm faith is called a first-class person in Krishna consciousness. And in the second class are those who are not very advanced in understanding the devotional scriptures, but who automatically have firm faith that Krishna bhakti or service to Krishna is the best course, and so in good faith have taken it up. Thus, they are superior to the third class who have neither perfect knowledge of the scriptures nor good faith, but by association and simplicity are trying to follow. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is in the second class, he does not fall down. And for the first class person in Krishna consciousness, there's no chance of falling down. One in the first class will surely make progress and achieve the result at the end. As far as the third class person in Krishna consciousness is concerned, although he has faith in the conviction that devotional service to Krishna is very good, he has not yet gained adequate knowledge of Krishna through the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes these third class persons in Krishna consciousness have some tendency toward karma yoga and jnana yoga. And sometimes they're disturbed. But as soon as the infection of karma or jnana yoga is vanquished, they become second class or first class persons in Krishna consciousness. Faith in Krishna is also divided into three stages and described in Srimad Bhagavatam. First class attachment, second class attachment, and third class attachment are also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. Those who have no faith, even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that it is simply eulogy, find the path very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them, there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus, faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapara Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Madgavirapi Gopala Swikuryat Kripaya Yadi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Hrishyayustat Priyajanaha. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur prays, and we can also pray along with him. My dear Lord Gopal, only if you accept my words as your cows will they supply sweet milk to give happiness to your pure devotees. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada is explained here in this very important verse, very important subject matter. That is the condition of our faith. One time I was sitting in Houston, Texas with Tamal Krishna Goswami, and suddenly he turned to me and said, Mukunda, how's your faith? We were both in the university at that time, and he was in the Department of Religious Studies. I was in the Department of South Asian Language and Literature, and we both hated it. I think it's probably easier if you're just studying languages, even if you're studying Braj Bhasha or Sanskrit or Bengali, because religious studies by nature takes a good, hard, critical look at your faith. And that can't be easy. But anyway, here it's pretty clear what Krishna says, Ashradadhana Purusha, those people who are not having faith, Dharmasyasya Parantapa, Aprapya Mamnivartante Mrityu Samsara Varshmani. They cannot sustain their commitment to pure devotional service, and they return to this world of birth and death. They cannot attain me, Krishna says. And Prabhupada, therefore, very rightly begins his purport. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Very serious thing, isn't it? Very, very serious warning. You have to cultivate your faith. How do you cultivate your faith? What's the next thing he says? Faith is created by association with devotees. If we associate with pure devotees, when Prabhupada says associate with devotees, he means associating with pure devotees, or at least more advanced devotees. What is a pure devotee?
Someone who has love for Krishna.
Somebody who loves Krishna. Anything else? Smart girl. By seeing whom some other people begin to chant. That's a pure devotee. What else?
Somebody who has
very strong faith in Krishna.
With no other desire than that to serve.
No other desire but the desire to serve Krishna.
Total surrender.
Total surrender. Yes. Check the box that says all of the above. But the basis is faith, adhara, adau shraddha. In the beginning, you have to cultivate your faith. And you cultivate that faith by seeking out satsanga. Bhaja mana Shri Nandanandana Abhay Charanara Vindare Durlabhamanava Janama Satsange Taraho Ebhava Sindhure. What does he say? Then my dear mind, please fix your attention on Shri Nandanandan, the son of Maharaj Nanda. Just like Raghupati Upadhyaya, he fixed his mind on the son of Nanda. When he came to see Vallabhacharya, he didn't know that he was going to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. He just appeared at the door, and when they answered the door, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him. Can you imagine? You go to knock on your friend's door, And then they open the door, and shining there in your friend's living room is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Very good.
And what was the first thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him? Speak something about Krishna. He didn't say, Hari Bol, how are you? He didn't say, Dandavats Prabhu, Jai Prabhupada. No. He said, just no formality whatsoever. He just said, tell me about Krishna. That's eagerness. That's real ruchi. So what did Raghupati Upadhyaya do? He's Upadhyaya. That means he's a smart guy. And he was, anybody know where he was from? Anybody here from Tirahut? Mithila? Nobody here. Yeah, they don't come here so much. You're from Janakpuri, okay. My Pakawaj guru is from Darbhanga, same part of the country. Anyway, he was from that place, and that used to be a great seat of Sanskrit learning. Who is it who comes from Mithila? One of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Guru Janas, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He was trained there because it was previously a great seat of learning, as I said, for Navya Nyaya philosophy, otherwise known as Vaisheshika philosophy. Anyway, that's another matter. But what did he say when he came in? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just instantly told him to say something about Krishna without missing a beat, on the spot. He said, Shrutamapare smritamatere bharatamanye bharantu bhavabhitaha ahamehanandam vande yasyalande param brahma. What does it mean? Some people very strictly follow the Smriti Shastras. What do we call these people? Smartas. Other people, they say, no, only the Shrutis. We only accept Shrutis. Who does that? Punjabis? Arya Samaj. Isn't it? They don't even accept Puranas. They don't like anything other than Shrutis. And other people are worshiping Mahabharata and etc. They're all afraid of material existence. They want liberation. But as far as I'm concerned, he says, I worship Nanda Maharaj. Kyun? Because in his courtyard, this Param Brahma is crawling around and enjoying himself. What kinds of things does he do in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj? He pulls down big Arjuna trees. Anyone ever seen an Arjuna tree? Yeah, they're big, right? And where do their roots go? Sideways and for a long way. It's not an easy thing to pull down such a tree. There's a road in Mauritius that both sides of the street, huge Arjuna trees there. And this little tiny boy tied to a grinding mortar pulled down two of these things. Nobody could understand what happened when they went to talk to him to try to get some information out of this unreliable witness. Prabhupada says in Bengali, Shuno Shaki Mata. What does it mean? You enter the testimony of a drunk man in court. So when they tried to ask the children what happened, the little children said, yeah, Krishna was tied to the mortar, but he crawled away and he pulled down these two trees, and two golden men came out and started talking to Krishna. That's all they knew. So this is Nandanandan, Sri Nandanandan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom Raghupati Upadhyaya worshipped. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to hear this. And this is what the poet Govinda Das Kaviraj is talking about when he says, my dear mind, just stay fixed at the lotus seat of this Krishna. Why? Sri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare, because he's like a lotus flower that you're protected from. Lotus flowers. When do lotus flowers blossom? Some of them open up when the moon comes out. Others open up when the sun comes out. That's why the sun is called Aravinda Bandhu. Mam Punatu Sarvada Aravinda Bandhu Nandini. Rupa Goswami prays to whom? Yamuna Devi. Yamuna Devi is the daughter of whom? Surya. Surya, the sun god. And therefore she is the sister of whom?
Yamaraj.
Yamaraj. Yami, Yama, brother, sister. Very cute. Actually, Yamuna is itself a corruption in Sanskrit. It comes from Yama Anuja, the younger sister of Yamaraj. That's why she's called Yamuna. Even in Sanskrit, it's not really proper Sanskrit, but it's become Sanskritized of a Brahmsha, you can say. So, Aravinda, the lotus flowers, because the sun is their friend. Why is the sun their friend? Because they bloom whenever they see the sun. And so that sometimes the little bees at nighttime, they're trying to eat the powder that's very fragrant. Anybody here from Tamil Nadu? No? Okay. Steady, okay. So, you ever heard of Javazu? Do you know what it is? They make a cosmetic out of it. It's from the lotus flower inside. So the bees go mad after this stuff. And they're so intoxicated by eating this stuff that they don't notice that the sun is setting. And exactly the same way that we don't notice that we're getting old. We continue to chase after these dreams of sense gratification in the material world, and the sun is setting. Anyone ever heard the name of Lala Babu?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the most wealthy person in the whole eastern half of India during the Warren Hastings administration. But one day he went to take his bath at the Hooghly in Kolkata, and he heard one fisherwoman nagging her husband, as they do, "Are, din to galo, ki korbo." So, the day is over. What are you wasting what are you doing? And it just hit him that, wait a minute, my life is also over. Where am I going? Like Kabir, there was one pad that Kabir Das said, where are you coming from? Where are you going? Who's really your brother or your sister or your parents? You don't know anything. So it struck him like that, Lala Babu. And even though he was the wealthiest person on the spot, he made the decision, I'm going to Vrindavan. And he did that. He took all of his money. He bought up as much property as he can in Vrindavan. Why? To save it from the developers who are now engaged in very wholeheartedly in ruining as much as they can. Near the Rangaji Mandir in Vrindavan, there's an old temple called Lala Babu Temple. Very beautiful deity called Krishna Chandrama. And he built that temple. And he did so many other things in Vrindavan. But now I forgot why I was got sidetracked on this point. He was a great devotee, but we were talking about
The lotus and
the lotus. Anyway, so Krishna, he's considered to be like this bees also. The bees get stuck in the lotus flower when it closes up at night. Okay, let's all focus with great attention on this water. Okay, so where were we? Bees. At the end of the day, they go to taste this kinjalka. They get so intoxicated by that they forget that the day is ending, just like us. And so they get imprisoned in the lotus flower. That's why the sun is the friend of the lotus flowers, because when he comes out, the lotus flower opens up and they're free to go. And they're full of the powder too, so they're happy still. So anyway, Abhay Charanara Vindare, this lotus feet of Krishna is a fearless place. While the bees are inside of that lotus flower, nobody can harm them, isn't it? They're good, they're safe. So when we're stuck at the lotus feet of Krishna, koi bhaya nahi, koi shanka nahi, koi bhaya nahi. So we have to stay fixed like that. And therefore he's requesting his mind. Hajahure man, Shri Nandanandan Abhay Charanara Vindare. Durlabha Manava, you've taken this rare human form of life. How rare is it? How many forms of life could you have and any non-human options? How many are there? 8,399,000 and plus 99,000. It's a lot. Only the human birth, we have what? What if you remove what, will you become an animal? Dharmasya hina. Everybody knows, but everybody doesn't know at the same time. Nothing would irritate Srila Prabhupada worse than people who are ready with every single shloka, kantastha, as we say, but they have no idea what it means. He would always come back and say, okay, very good. Now, what does it mean? And then they, so anyway, so this Durlabhamanava, we have this rare window of opportunity to actually change our trajectory. And the more we are absorbed in sense gratification and trying to fulfill our animalistic pursuits, such as ahara, taking things in, including food, and nidra, sleep, wasted time, and bhaya, fear. Always a whole security industry, isn't it? There's a devotee I know in New York, fraud protection. This is an extension of the bhaya principle. Protect your assets, protect your security, protect your company, because it's a fact, isn't it? Who's trying to hack into that? All kinds of scuzzy characters. Mainly from Nigeria and the Far East, it seems. But anyway, bhaya and Maitunam Chad. You can't forget that one, can you? It's the Adi Rasa, right? Maitunya Agaram. It is the shackle. We all have a ball and chain around our feet, isn't it? What is it? Sex desire. Yes, everybody's hiding inside. It's there. What are you going to do about it? This is our human problem. We have the potential for something so high, but we have the strong inclination for something so low. Even pigs do this. So this is our human condition. So dharma sahina pashubhi samana, without dharma, you're no better than an animal. So he says, durlabha manava janama satsange. Now that you've taken this human form of life, get satsanga however you can. And in that satsanga, what do? Janama satsange, taraho e bhava sindhure. You will come out of this ocean of material existence in that association. So this is the thing that Prabhupada says in the second sentence of his purport. Faith is created by the association with devotees. Now, here's the third thing. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, such as Srila Prabhupada, still have no faith. Oh my God, what a waste of life, isn't it? Faith is your most important asset, my friends. Don't worry about your bank accounts. Don't even worry about, don't worry about anything except your faith. Because while you're a human being, this faith can liberate you. It can give you eternal happiness, freedom. Why do you have to keep dying all the time? Why do you have to get sick all the time? Why do you have to get old? It's no picnic getting old. Why do you have to take birth again after all this is done? You think I deserve some rest, right? No rest for the wicked. So this is the thing. There are some people who are so impious that even after hearing in good association, they still cannot take it. So what is the solution to that? Anybody know? Anyone who went to the Sadhu Sangha retreat this year? Raise your hand if you went to Sadhu Sangha, a few of us. So we spoke about that. You can look it up. We don't have time to dilate, but a couple of verses from Bhagavatam we focused on there. What to do if you don't have a taste for hearing in the association of devotees, or you don't have faith in this principle, what to do about it. All right, so Prabhupada he's dilating on this for some reason. He feels it's important enough to explain this. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, faith is the most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. Keep it locked and keep it well maintained, your faith, at all costs. Protect it from, what do you have to protect it from? What do you have to protect your faith from? If faith comes from good association, then what do you have to protect your faith from? Kusatsanga, kusanga, asatsanga. Bad association. People will take you to hell. Gladly, they will take you to hell. We have to be very careful about that. So And then Prabhupada spends some time explaining what is that faith actually. And the first thing he says, faith is, who remembers? The conviction that simply by serving Krishna, everything is fulfilled. Well, does it mean I'm going to get the job if I just, go to the temple and do the oddity, right? No, you have to carry out your duties at the same time. Nobody's saying just give up everything. If they are, they're cheating. But the point is that Shama evahi kevalam. If after doing all of your duties very nicely in this material world, you still haven't awakened any faith in Krishna or any taste for hearing about Krishna, what is your destination? Dubious. Not sure. So this is the important thing. And then he gives the example from Bhagavatam 4th canto, just like you water the root of a tree and everything in that tree becomes nourished. Just as you put your foodstuffs here and everything in your whole body becomes automatically taken care of. When I was in Karoli, Rajasthan, anybody ever been to Karoli, Rajasthan? Yeah. Famous deity is now living there, Madan Gopal, Sanatana Goswami's Ishtadeva. So there on the wall of that temple, there are so many shlokas. And one of the shlokas says that just as God is pervading this entire creation of his, just as milk is pervading the body of a cow, but is only available through the nipples of the cow, teats. Similarly, God is pervading every aspect of his creation, but he's available in the form of the deity. Very nice, isn't it? So this is what we have to do. We have to water the tree. We have to feed the stomach. We have to worship the deity. And the supreme deity is Krishna. So this is why he says, Bhaja Hureman Sri Nandanandan Abhay Charanaravindarev. Then we should believe that actually we don't have to worry about separately worshiping each and every demigod. But if I worship Krishna, then, Lord Shiva is going to be mad at me, right? Raise your hand if this is what you believe. Is it? No, we're all advanced here, but there are people who think like that. But Ganapati, we've been worshiping since generations. What to do? Then you have to read Brahma Samhita, and you can tell them, Yat pada pallava yogam vinadhayavam vadvanve pranama samaye saganatirajaha viksnan vihantum alamasya jagatrayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Ganesh himself is worshipping Krishna. In which form?
Narasimha.
Yes. Worshipping Narasimha. Oh, but I'm in Saraswati, to kya karan? Right? Yeah, I know. I was in Saturn for 26 years. The normal course of his administration is 19 years. And then right after that, I went into Saraswati. So it came out to about 26 years. I know all about Saturn. Firpi, what do you do? Huh? Who does Shani Dev worship himself? Again, Narasimha. Well, why are they all worshiping Narasimha? When I went to Govardhan Hill, I was living in Govardhan Hill since about 20 years, a little over 20 years ago. And I attended a class at the Narasimha temple at the southern end of Govardhan Hill. Anybody been there? Raise your hand. Any Narasimha bhaktas here? So Indraduna Swami gave a very nice lecture, and he said, when I first came to Vrindavan, I was thinking, this is the land of Sringara Rasa and Radha Krishna Yugala Upasana and, Vrindavan and Ras Leela and Nikunjas and young gopis and all this. Then I think of this fearsome form of Narasimha ripping the entrails out of Hiranyakashipu, and I'm thinking, it doesn't match. It doesn't really fit here. This is the point that he made. And we may have this conception, but actually it does match. How so? Because we all have to begin with faith. This is the point of tonight's lecture, huh? What do we do when we have some faith? Adav Shraddha Tataha Sadhu Sangha. We have to invest that faith in the proper people. Sadhus. Do not invest your faith in the dishonest, dhurtas, or murkhas. There are two kinds of people in this world, huh? Vanchaka and Vanchita. Cheaters and cheated. You cannot put your faith in either one of them. And usually we're each a little bit of each. Because we're cheaters, therefore we also get cheated. So he said, realizing that after sadhu sangha, what happens? When you get into good, when you invest your faith in coming to this program, like we have tonight, you take the association of sadhus, and then what are we doing here? Are we watching the Super Bowl? No. What are we doing? Bhajana Kriya. We're chanting Krishna's name. We're hearing something about Krishna. And the best part, we take prasadam. Mahaprasada Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punyavadham Rajan Vishvaso Naiva Jayate. Your faith, if it never is placed in Mahaprasadam at any point, your life is also wasted. In Mahaprasadam, in the holy name, in the Brahmanas, in the Vaishnavas, this is where our faith should go. And investing in that satsanga, we engage in bhajana kriya. And from bhajana kriya, kya hoga? Anarthanivritti. And that is the department of Lord Narasimhadeva. He is called Bhakti Vighna Vinashaka. Just like Ganapati is called Vighna Vinashana. What's another name? If you're from Chennai, he's called Pilayar. But Vinayaka is a very common name of Ganapati, right? Why Vinayaka? What the V pratyaya? What does it mean? V. Vishesha can mean Visheshkar. What else? No. V. It's a pratyaya. It's a prefix. V means, he says Visheshkar. That is true.
It can be negative also.
Vigata. Yes, you're going in the wrong direction. So Vinayaka means he's, by removing your obstacles to material enjoyment in this world, he's actually taking you in the wrong direction. Hare, this is his job. And who is his mother after all? The son takes after the mother. Hena? His mother is Mahamaya. And that's her business. Maya tekshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. And that Mahamaya herself is also worshiping Krishna, just like her son. Hena? Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti rega chaya yasya bhuvanani vivarti
Durga.
ichhanu rupam api yasya chachesate sa adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So she's also worshiping. But her business, the job that she has been given by Krishna, you keep all the riffraff out of my pastimes. Like a bouncer. In Moscow, if you're so unfortunate to try to enter a club in Moscow, how do I know about these things? Only by hearing, I can assure you. If you try to enter a prestigious club, they have what they call face control. Anybody know what is face control? If the bouncer doesn't like your face, then he decides you're out. Pure discrimination. Unapologetic, brazen. No, you're not cool. Sorry, out. That is the rule. So anyway, Maya, she's in charge like this. If she doesn't think that, if she's sending you test after test after test after test after test at Krishna's behest, so it's not really her doing it, it's Krishna doing it. Look at it that way. It's a lot more encouraging, isn't it? Oh my God, it's me against this material energy. What am I going to do? But it's not like that. It's coming from Krishna. And it is based on love. That Krishna loves me so much, he's sending me this massive test. Now, what am I going to do to prove myself to him? So anyway, in this material world, Maya Devi, she is managing everyone such that they stay out of the spiritual world if they are holding on to what? The vignas, holding on to the obstructing anarthas. Therefore, Ganesh, Prabhupada, he wrote in the Nectar of Devotion that we should worship Vaikuntha deities like Ganesh to remove the obstructions of our devotional service. So why does he say that, given what I've just said about Vinayaka? Why would he say that? Anybody know? A little bit. No. We're returning to that point. We're not lost. But why is Prabhupada encouraging us to worship a Vaikuntha deity like Ganesh? Why would he say such a thing? Because Ganesh has his alternate form. It's not just in this material world where he's Vinayaka, but in the spiritual world, he's actually Vigna Vinashaka, like Narasimhadev. He too is removing the anarthas. But he's not called Ganesh there in the spiritual world. What is he called? Vishwaksena. Like when you go to Tirupati. Anyone been to Tirupati? So, he's there. He's right next to the Lord. So he's the one who decides who gets in and who gets out. So Narasimhadev has this function. He's Bhakti Vigna Vinashaka. He destroys all the obstacles to devotion. Knowing this, one year I went to, this was, a short while before I went into Saturn period. I went to Lord Narasimhadev in Mayapur. What is his form in Mayapur? Ugra Narasimha. It's bad choice. He was in a bad mood. So I went and I prayed that, just remove all the stops and just let me do what it takes to make me pure and let me make advancement. And he did it. And it really hurt for the next 26 years. Anyway, we have to go through these things sometimes because our faith has to be tested. It has to be strengthened, right? Why do they put steel rods into the fire? To temper them, to make them strong. So this is the same with devotional service. And Kunti Devi is also praying, Vipataha Santuta Shashwat Adi. She says, let these obstacles come again and again. Because she knows these are not obstacles. This is love. Tough love, I'd like to say. We're in this world for to undergo a process called attitude adjustment. And that is to deepen our faith. Every test we have to undergo, every difficulty we have to experience, everything we go through in life, it's only meant, as far as Krishna is concerned, it's only meant for one purpose, and that is one purpose only. What? To deepen our faith. Because if our faith becomes deeper, we become deeper. And Krishna wants that kind of love only. That's real love, deep love. What passes in this world is love. Half the time it's what? Lust, which is another way to say what? Prapancha. Do you have this word in your language? Kabhi kabhi Hindi mein bhi hoti hai na? Prapancha. Cheating. Or what does Kunti Devi herself calls it? What? Vedambanam. Vedambanam. So this is why we associate with devotees, because devotees will allow us to undergo this process of anartha nivritti. Narasimhadev also does the same thing as we were saying. So from anartha nivritti, then we get what?
Nishka.
Yeah, because we're tempered now. Nothing's going to move us so much. This is the second-class devotee that Prabhupada was telling us about in the purport. First-class devotee is clueless. Bhainski demag. Oh, okay. That, they just tell you to do something and yeah, okay. You don't know why you're doing it. Nothing you understand. And it's okay. It's pious. But most likely they'll fall when there's another test because they can't see the connections, can't connect the dots. So, sambandha gyan bhi hona chahiye zarur. Bilkul. You have to have, or I should say kandipa, you have to have sambandha gyan. That means you have to read Srila Prabhupada's books. And this is emphasized here. Have you noticed?
Yes.
What is the quality that he emphasizes here regarding the second-class devotee? What differentiates the second class from the third-class devotee? Devotee's faith is weak, his scriptural knowledge also weak. The second class devotee, at least he's got some faith. He's not perfect in the Shastra, but he knows something. COVID. We had COVID-19. Actually, COVID means he knows something in Sanskrit. Kaha vid. He knows something. So, and first class devotee, his faith is, yes, yeah, case hardened, you can say. And his scriptural knowledge is also bilkul pakka. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. So this is what we have to do. And what brings us through this process of maturation? Only satsanga. Bina satsanga na hari katha, bino mohana bhage, moha gai bino ramapada, hoina drida anuraga. Tulsidas ne kaha aisa. Same thing that we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, sadhu sanga, sarva shastra koye, lava matra sadhu sanga, sarva siddhi hoy. We were mentioning the sadhu sanga lecture. 3 ways Jiva Goswami tells us that we can benefit by associating with sadhus, even for a short time. Even you bump into a sadhu in the elevator, that can help you. It can elevate you. Sambhashana. What is the other one? Drishti, Sambhashana, and Sparshana. Yeah. Darshana, Sparshana, Sambhashana. These 3 things. You even just seeing a sadhu, if he's really pure, just seeing that person can purify your heart. It can instill faith. How does it happen? That we can't say. It's mystical. But it instills faith somehow. Even just touching a sadhu, you touch his feet especially. It's a great blessing, it's there. But please don't touch mine after the lecture. Sometimes they try to do it. And sambhashana, the real thing, if you can speak with a sadhu, because if you can speak to a sadhu, then you can do what? Pariprashna, Krishna says. Pariprashnena sevyaya, in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. You can inquire, you can present your doubts. We all have them, no? So that's your chance. And you can ask questions, and you can hear what he says. Personalized instruction. It's so valuable. We say that there are 2 kinds of association with the spiritual master. What are they? Vani, Vapu. And Tamal Krishna Goswami told me that Vani is considered to be the best of those 2, right? Why? Because forever it goes on. The Vani is always there, provided somebody has taken the time and trouble to repeat it, which means they've taken the time and trouble to open the book and read it. So, it's not just the only books people read now is Facebook. Or they, in India, you read, just as much as you have to get through, your college, C++, bare minimum. It doesn't work like that in devotional service. You have to know what you're doing. Anyway, so now I've lost my train of thought again, but darshana, sparshana, sambhashana, with just momentary association with a pure devotee can give us so much benefit. How much benefit? Sarva siddhi hoy. He says, every perfection can be given. Your material life will also automatically be benefited. Because devotional service has 6 excellences. What are the first 2? 6 wonderful things happen when you practice sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Each has two excellences. Kleshagni shubhada. These 2 things happen. Your miseries will be destroyed. I've seen people like this. When I was in Houston recently, one boy, he's now a man, he's almost 50. I knew him when he was this big. And he came to me and said, you way back when I was just entering college, we stayed at your place and you gave me some advice that changed the whole course of my life. Thank you so much. After 30 years, he's telling me this. I never knew anything, but see what an impact it can have. Just a little bit of sambhashana. Just lava matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. So he was very thankful about that. And yeah, so this is our process, and Prabhupada is emphasizing this. He's also explaining how it is that depending on the depth or the magnitude of our faith, we will be a first class, second class, or last class devotee, right? Just like on the trains, Pratham Shreni. So that's the ideal. We should become a first class devotee. Why not? Why settle for anything less? So faith. This topic is explained at great length in the beginning 4 or 5 verses of chapter 17 of Bhagavad Gita. And that chapter itself is further described in chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita. Very, very important Sambandha Gyan. We have to know these things. So this, as Prabhupada has said in today's purport, he's telling us that this is further elaborated in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. These 3 adhikars, we say Kanishta ka matlab kya hai? Youngest. And Madhyama and Uttama, Shrestha. So these 3 adhikars, they're distinguished only by what? Only by Shraddha, really. They have their symptoms, but the thing that really causes those symptoms is only Shraddha. So cultivate your Shraddha. Make it a point to cultivate your Shraddha. Protect your Shraddha. Nourish that Shraddha. Act on your Shraddha. But make sure it's, paka. Make sure it's not bad faith. As I said, that's described in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explains, you can have tamasic faith, and that's dangerous. What's an example of tamasic faith? If you, I can't hear you. Yeah, well, tamasic faith. I give this example sometimes that if you believe that it is your religious duty to fill a jetliner with fuel and fly it into the World Trade Center, that's tamasic faith. It's faith. Shraddha to hai. Lekin bilkul tamasic shraddha. And, rajasic faith is more what you're talking about, that, I'm gonna donate, I'm gonna be the biggest donor in the temple and everybody's gonna know it's me. I want my name on the plaque and they should announce me at the Sunday feast and I get the garland and all these things, right? People sometimes they fall for this. This is all Maya just toying with us. Just like Sridhar Swami says, just like a cat. A cat likes to play with the mice before she kills it, right? So Maya does this with us. She's got these 3 shulas, right? Anytime she can just finish us off, but she's playing around with us. And it's mercy also because she's giving us a chance that maybe he'll turn around. But somebody whose faith is rajasic, he can only think, what's in it for me? How, every room he enters, he looks around and calculates, see which way the wind is blowing, who I have to contend with on this battle, right? And, this is the problem. Rajasic faith. I got to get something out of this. That's passion, desire, frenetic activity. And the result is what? What is the result of the mode of passion? You people are not reading enough. No, the result of that desire, what is it? Distress. What is the result of? Sattva guna. Nectar.
Nectar and light.
Nectar, it's like poison in the beginning. Like you get up at, like he said, 3 o'clock in the morning in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, you have to break open a chlorine swimming pool and pour it over your head to take a shower. That's austerity. It's like poison in the beginning, but it's like nectar in the end. That is sattvic. Rajasic means it's just the opposite. It's like very nectarian in the beginning and it turns to hell in the end. What's the worst example of that? We mentioned it already once. The adi rasa, sex life, male-female attraction, very dangerous. Because it's very, 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 how do I know what the word is? Salubrious. You feel it's, restorative, calming, soothing. But in the end, it turns out to be something else because it's rajasic. And tamasic, what is the nature of tamasic faith and tamasic activity? Cultivation of tamoguna. It's misery and bewilderment in the beginning, and in the end, it turns into misery and bewilderment. You get nowhere. You never even get off the ground. This is human life, my friends. Let's do something about it while we can. And the way to do something about it is you, by all means, you nurture faith, protect faith, cultivate faith, strengthen faith, act on your faith, and you will make advancement. Okay, I think we haven't even got through the whole purport. We'd like to dilate on more of the many points that Prabhupada makes here, but the time is running out. So maybe I should stop here. And if anybody has any questions or any comments, we can discuss. Is that right? It's 8:40. Yes.
Should we not pray to the Narasimha Swami in Mayapur?
Well, no, you should definitely pray to Lord Narsingh in Mayapur, but be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. You have to pray intelligently. One of my godbrothers is an astrologer he specializes in prashna. He knows, you have a specific question, he will answer that by divination. So he's very careful to point out, you have to be very careful about how you pose your question, because that will affect the answer. If you have a very, I want to say, a hazy, vague sort of question, you're going to get a hazy, vague answer. Somebody in English once said, a question well stated is a question half answered. So yeah, you have to, when you go to Narsingha, definitely you should go to Narsingha in Mayapur, or go to your local home altar. Why do you have to take the trouble? Just pray. But pray in the right way. Pray for the right thing. And be very careful what you ask for, because he sometimes gives it, he sometimes doesn't. He's not under anybody's obligation to do anything. Sometimes he gives you such tremendous mercy that you can't even imagine, even if you don't have a wild imagination. So he gives you such tremendous mercy. Prabhupada said, God has 10 hands. With your 2 hands, how much can you take if someone with 10 hands is benedicting you? And, if he wants to be cruel, or if he wants to be harsh with you, necessarily, that's called, again, tough love. Then with your 2 hands, what can you do about it? Nothing, my friend. Kuch nahi, Baba. So, yeah, we should pray to Narsingha, but be very intelligent. And Prabhupada always says, the best thing when we're composing prayers, you just repeat those prayers that have been offered by perfect persons, perfect devotees. Just like Prahlad Maharaj. My God, what a great soul, Prahlad Maharaj. Prabhupada was always glorifying him, so fond of him. What does he pray for? Swasti astu vishwasya khala prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mithodhiya manashtabhadram bhajatar dhokshaje aveshyatam no matirapyahaitaki. May the whole universe be auspicious, but may the demons be pacified. May everyone in this world think of each other's welfare, and may they practice devotional service and become purified in their minds. And may we all enter more and more deeply into this consciousness. Even me, he says. Why does he say even me? Because he thinks he's a demon. That's called humility. Imagine what a nice world this would be if we all had Prahlad's humility. Okay, any other questions or any comments? No? Yeah.
So probably when we talk of this concept of faith, like Prabhupada, how he explained the purport is the perfect standard of faith that, just by serving Krishna, everything is perfect.
The Uttama Adhikari,
So when we talk of faith for sadhakas, like, is it more an internal conviction of how much we have trust in Krishna, or like when there's a difficult situation, how much we are turning to Krishna? How do we know that aspect of faith?
How do we know what is the condition of our faith? I think is what you're asking, right? You ask someone in whom you have faith. You ask a more advanced devotee, how am I doing? What do you think? This is my conception. Am I right? Am I wrong? You have to surrender. That's not so easy to do sometimes, because what happens if I reveal my mind to a sadhu? What does Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur say about this? The nature of a sadhu is that he is so sweet and so attractive, we become inspired and faithful, that we reveal to him even things that we hide from our own family members. Right? And what does he do? He takes out the sacrificial knife and he slices us with a knife of sharp words. Because sometimes we have to be, woken up, and I mean, there's no polite way to throw a hand grenade. But sometimes that's what it takes. What's an example of this? Remember Indra? I mean, how many problems did we hear about Indra in the Shastra? It seems like he's mainly girl trouble too. We were talking about that. So anyway, so Indra, once he somehow or other, he ended up by fate, he ended up as a pig. Indra, king of heaven. And, he had some curse or something to fulfill. And yeah, after the period was up, and then Lord Brahma, he's noticing, hey, he's late. So he went to come and get Indra, and he sees Indra enjoying in the nully black, the lower half of their bodies is crusty and black, right? Have you seen this? The pigs in Vrindavan. And so, hey, Indra, it's like, you're the king of heaven, remember? It's like, okay, it's enough now. You can come home. And Indra's like, well, what's the problem? Chill out. I got the best nully in the neighborhood. And I got my sow here, and I don't even need a sow. I can go with anybody because I'm a pig, right? My daughter or anything. And I got my little piglets. And what did Brahmaji have to do to finally wake him up? He had to go and start slaughtering all of his little piglets and all of his little sow and just pretty harsh. That's what Maya does, I told you, with this Trishula. What is that Trishula? Adibhautik klesha, Adidaivik klesha, Adhyatmik klesha. But if we take to devotional service, we're free from all three kleshas, kleshagni. And this is the beginning excellence of bhakti. Just with sadhana bhakti alone, you become free from these miseries. I've seen it happen many times. At least they tell me that. So, this is the thing. Is it helping? Anything else? Yes.
Yeah. So from Prabhupada, as you were direct disciple from Prabhupada. So
I'm still trying.
Yeah. So
Aún aprendo,
yeah,
they
at
say in
18
Spanish.
years of age, who knows nothing about Krishna. At what point it triggered you to become a Prabhupada student or teacher?
This book. I actually was interested in God anyway. I was religious. Roman Catholic. My father raised us Roman Catholic. And I always wanted to be a priest, even as a kid. I used to make my parents take us to all the missions and everything. They wouldn't let me join the monastery, not surprisingly. But the Franciscan friars, they shave their head in a particular way. And I told my mother that I wanted to shave my head like that when I was only about 10 years old. She said, no, I don't think so. Anyway, as I got older, I was more and more attracted to Hinduism because Hinduism was even more Catholic than Catholicism. And so, I was practicing yoga. I became a vegetarian. And read many editions of Bhagavad Gita also in English. But I didn't understand those editions because the publishers didn't understand them either. When I saw this edition, I thought, this is a very presumptuous sounding title, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why only this one? Who does he think he is? That's what I was thinking. right? I mean, on the face of it, it would seem, so then I read it. And lo and behold, it was like somebody turned the lights on all of a sudden. Everything was clear, no stone left unturned, every question answered, every step of the process very scientifically explained, methodically, in simple language, no big fancy Latin words, a little Sanskrit. But I was learning Sanskrit by that time anyway, so I appreciated it. So, I came because of these books. I never had very much personal association with Srila Prabhupada, only a few minutes, talking about darshana, sparshana, sambhajana. So I just, pretty much like that. But these books brought me to Krishna consciousness, and these books have sustained me in Krishna consciousness. And I pray that they do so eternally. As Srila Prabhupada always used to say, books are the basis. How does Vyasadeva say that in Sanskrit? Anybody know? Books are the basis. It's in Vedanta Sutra, third of the Chatu Sutri. Anybody know? Shastra Yonitvat. What he said, what I'm saying is true because everything comes from Shastra. Shastra Yonitvat. That means books are the basis. So, at least in one life in this room, these books have done the magic that they do. I always point out that everywhere I go, that there are so many editions in any language of Bhagavad Gita, but only this edition has made hundreds and thousands of devotees all over the world. Only this one. That is a fact. You can't deny that. You don't have to understand Sanskrit to get that. You don't have to, be a big philosopher or tapasvi or anything. It's common sense. So, this is what convinced me, and I'm still here after 50 years. So, is it answering your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So read Prabhupada's books. You have them?
Yes.
Do you read them every day?
Not every day.
Okay. See, this is why I say, Karnamanyevadhikadastema. Okay. What does it mean? This is the problem. Talking about faith in chapter 17, Baladev Vidyabhushan says, we have two kinds. Swabhavik faith, that's the faith that you're born with. You bring it in as part of your samskar package. And then Shastra Janya faith, that is the faith that you deliberately cultivate in satsanga. They're two different things, my friend. Because the swabhavik faith, it's like the gas tank is empty and the car is running on fumes. Because you're not investing anything into it. And you're just, drowning yourself in all this external input from the faithless world. How long do you think you can go on like that? You can't. This is exactly what Prabhupada means when he says, most likely they will slip after some time, talking about the faithless Kanishta Adhikaris who have no knowledge. We have to read these books if we want to advance beyond that tenuous stage of being a drop of water on a lotus leaf. Nalani dalagata jalamati taralam tadvat jivitam atashaya chapalam. What does it mean? Our life is like that. Our spiritual life is like that. Little drop of water rolling around. Any minute it can go, zip, gone off the side of that leaf, correct? So what is the difference? If we're not putting anything into really solidifying and putting, roots deep into the soil for our faith, then it's just a question of time before we fall down. So please read these books. Do it every day. Promise? Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Aur koi prashna? Oh, yes.
How do you know that we are actually free? Because
That's the same question he just asked, isn't it? You find that association in whom you have faith, the sadhus, and you inquire from them, how am I doing? It's objective, right? Yes.
Like,
That much is our own responsibility. It's like this. If you want to buy gold, you have to know what's the price of gold. You have to know who is a reputable dealer. You have to have the money to pay for it. It's common sense. So in the same way, in Krishna consciousness, we have to, some preliminary understanding has to be there. In other words, we can't just be tamasic. We have to have some, clue as to what's happening. Pata pata rehna kaam nahi chalega. Abodha jata, it's called in Srimad Bhagavatam. We're just born like animals in ignorance, and we got to do something about it now. You have to cultivate enough knowledge to recognize who to hear from, and then you have to do that. Am I answering your question? Is it the answer you wanted?
I guess that how I should pose the question, because sometimes if I ask per se Adityanarayan Prabhu, because every time we go to him when we have some problem, or no problem, we're doing well still. So then how we should ask the question, Prabhuji, I am doing this and I'm doing this, how I'm doing, but he cannot see that how much faith I have. I can only say that I'm reading or I'm hearing, but I can't show him that what's the attitude I'm having while I'm hearing.
Very good point. Very good point.
How I should show that to someone when I'm asking that.
It's very subtle. It's very difficult also. Krishna therefore says that the best of the yogis is the person who's able to see that without you saying anything. And many, many devotees have the experience that this is what Prabhupada did. He just knew. Whatever, Tamal Krishna Goswami even, I have experience of him. He, in 2 minutes talking to somebody, he could understand everything about them. See, that is a sign of a very advanced personality. So you have to find such a personality. And it will be clear to you. As soon as I saw Srila Prabhupada first time, I had been hearing from him, but I never saw him, never interacted with him, never spoke to him, nothing. But as soon as I saw him, I could understand everything that I could understand very clearly. It was completely obvious. He's not of this world. He's representing everything that he teaches in those books. I could just see it instantly. So, it's a little bit subtle, but we have to, that's why I say, you may not be able to see everything, but at least if you have faith in someone, put it this way, whoever you have the most faith in, go to that person. Bus. What else can we do, really? We have to pray to Krishna for guidance, like Lord Shiva does in Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 58, I believe it is. He prays for good association. We have to do like that. And then we have to use our own discretion as best as we can. And then ultimately it's a leap of faith also. It's a little bit subjective, but to the best of our ability, we should educate ourselves, who to hear from, how to recognize who's a proper speaker, who can allay my fears and my doubts and inspire me to rise above my attachments, adi, adi, adi. So yeah, pray. Is that okay? Anything else? Yeah.
Well, before we do this practice of bhakti, and especially after I've heard something personally speaking, and I try to implement it, oftentimes I see that I may or may not be successful, but whenever I genuinely try my best to implement something, and I start putting it into my schedule, then I realize that the thought comes in, it creeps in that, oh, I am doing it. And no matter how much I put that, yes, like this is Krishna's ability, he's putting it into me. I shouldn't be having this thought. It all feels superficial. I'm not able to suppress that thought. It's something so natural that, oh, I am doing this, I am doing that.
You're saying ego.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, I'm maybe not going to give you the kind of answer that you're expecting, but this is love. And in love, you can't say that one person is more important than the other person. Can you say that? No. But according to Bharat Muni, at least, in love, each partner is enjoying equally. Each partner has equal authority. This is the counterintuitive nature of bhakti, Krishna bhakti. That Krishna is, we're more concerned about Krishna because we're devotees, but Krishna, from his perspective, he's more concerned about us. And, it really, there's not much difference between the devotee and the Lord in that sense, in that limited sense. So the ego, it's not necessarily a problem if you feel like you're doing something, if in fact that's what you're doing. But if you feel like you're doing something when you're not doing that thing, that's a problem. And this is why we have gurus and sadhus and shastras who can chasten us and keep us in line. Otherwise, the false ego will be carried away and think, I'm the only Uttama Adhikari here. What's wrong with all these other guys? No, this is what happens. Who has to doubt more than anyone? The third class person. He's the one who thinks he's the first class. And the first class person thinks he's the lowest class. That is the nature of this. So, the only thing that's going to bring us from one point to the other point is the gurus and the sadhus and the shastras and their mercy. So we have to be humble. We have to protect our faith. We have to study Prabhupada's books and apply the process. And hote sab kuch theek ho jaye. Hum bhi shuddha ho jaye. Okay. All right. Maybe then it's 9 o'clock, so I think we'll stop here. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare